Jimmy Butler spoke to media before Tuesday's matchup versus the Heat and had some things to say about Heat culture and playing in Miami after being traded there in February. Will Jimmy be booed in Miami? Should he be booed? We'll break it down in today's episode of Locked On Heat.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or your favorite podcast app, thanks so much for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg here with David Ramil. Both of us are credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Before we jump in to today's show, a reminder that our next Locked On Heat watch party is going to be with our friends at the Taurus in Coconut Grove, March 29th for the Heat's away game against the Philadelphia 76ers. The Heat are coming off of a win. Maybe they'll be coming off of a few more wins by then. Either way, hang out, have some good food, have some good drinks. It's at the Taurus, which is the same place we had our last watch party. They do a phenomenal job over there. We are so excited to keep doing it there and to see all of you there. Have a great show for you today. I want to talk about how we think Heat fans will welcome Jimmy Butler on Tuesday night in a second. But first, I want to start with this quote from Jimmy Butler, who told The Athletic that Heat culture is overused. So, David, bear with me here because it's one of these longer quotes, but I think the context is really important. So I really just do want to include all of it. So Jimmy Butler said, quote, "There was some foundation to it," it being Heat culture. "There was some foundation to it in the sense of the work and all of that stuff, which is great. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I think it's a little bit like overused, talking about the Heat culture. It is a great organization, but I think a large part of that culture is you get guys that buy into a winning mindset. You get some guys that buy in. You get some really good players, and you get the opportunity to talk about Heat culture a little bit more. I'm not saying it to talk down or anything, but I think whenever you have really good players, you can name it whatever you want to name it," end quote. Before I get to the part where I think he's right, what did you think when you saw this quote?
It's tough because hearing it now, like, he is absolutely spot on. Like, I think he's right about all of it. Like, the fact that you have to have a foundation that is there. The part about Heat culture that everybody kind of overlooks is the accountability, the consistency, the stability, and yes, the work ethic and everything else like that. That's been a trademark of this organization since 1995 when Pat Riley joined it. But it's gone through phases. They've been successful. But guess what? It's a lot easier to be successful when you've got Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, Alonzo Mourning, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Jimmy Butler, etc. It's a lot less successful when you have James Johnson, Hassan Whiteside, and Dion Waiters as your big three. That's the whole difference there. And so when you look at what Jimmy's saying, he's 100% right. And yet, I hate that he said that. I hate that he's pointing it out. I hate that he's pulling back the curtain and saying, there it is. Like, he should not have been saying that because he's a guy who talked up Heat culture and talked about this team so completely. And I got to be honest with you, it kind of pisses me off a little bit. Like, I'm disappointed. I'm upset. And I don't know why. Like, I shouldn't be emotionally invested in this whatsoever. But at the same time, to see Jimmy say that Heat culture is talked up too much, something I've said a number of times on this show, it just feels wrong. Like, you want a player
when it comes from one of yours. But when it comes from across enemy lines now, it's like we could talk about it. It's like, it's like having a sibling who is kind of a little bit of an F up, and you're like, well, I can point out when
your brother's kind of a jerk. He's like, no, he's not.
You can't say that. I could say it. But now we're fighting. That's sort of what that's like. No, but he's right. He is right, 100%. And I go back to his introductory press conference too, and him talking about how the Heat culture was something that he always admired and wanted to be a part of, and then he was for 5.5 years, and then he left. And he's not saying that it doesn't exist. He doesn't say it's not real. He says that it's overused, and it became overused the moment they painted it on the court and put it on the front of their jersey and marketed it.
Yeah.
It is overused. They lean a little bit too much into it in terms of it being this thing that only they have. And here's the thing about Heat culture. Every team has culture. there is an organizational culture. Heat culture is just organizational culture, right? And by definition, heat culture is their organizational culture. And by definition, every organization has organizational culture. Now, it could be a bad culture.
Yes.
It could be an ineffective culture. But by definition, every organization has a culture, whatever that culture might end up being. What makes Heat culture unique is that it's been the same one since, like you said, 1995, essentially the same parts of it. It's been the same foundation that they've built on. And that's, a credit to the stability of this front office and this organization, ownership and all this stuff. But it is the thing that makes it different. And then the other thing that makes it different is it's because this particular brand of culture has been around so long that they are able to literally make it a brand. And that's the only difference. The Warriors have culture. I covered that team very intimately. That is a good culture that they have there too. It's very different than the Heat's culture, but it's their organizational culture. But
did they have culture when they were in the lottery?
No, they didn't have it before Steph, and they didn't have it in
or
Steve
I'm
Kerr
saying
or
during
anything like
Steph,
that.
before they won their most recent championship. Did
I would
they
say
have
they
culture then? Right. What happened? What was the difference? Well, Klay Thompson was hurt. Steph was hurt. Like the organization was going through a change there. That was the difference. It wasn't that they lost.
There's no
culture for 2
substitute, to
seasons.
Jimmy Butler's point. There's no substitute for good players in the NBA.
Yes.
Right. You need the good players to win, but that's not, that's not the only job. The other part of a good organization is making sure that you've built a good organizational culture. Like that's the other part of it too. You need both. There's no substitute for good players. There's also no substitute for Heat culture. So here's my question to you, David. What the hell would Jimmy Butler be saying if he actually got traded to Phoenix, where there is no culture? A lot harder to start taking those perceived slights and those perceived shots when you're playing for the Phoenix Suns. A lot harder to start talking about culture when you're in that organization, because they have all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
But they have no culture. There's no substitute for talent. There's also no substitute for culture. You need both. Phoenix has one of them. They don't have the other one. The Warriors have both things right now. The Heat had both things for a long time. What would
it's a good point.
Jimmy, yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, like he's kind of put on the spot because, obviously he's now with a good team and they're incredibly successful. Like it's just so interesting how he's been able to kind of unlock something. Like this team was kind of mediocre before the trade. And I don't even think that Jimmy has necessarily been that phenomenal, but he's brought something to the table in terms of the belief, the imbuing others around him, the irrational confidence. And that's kind of like, it has recharged a team that had that championship culture in place already. And so it's really interesting to kind of see it play out in real time. To your point, had he been traded to another organization like Phoenix, would they have been able to duplicate the same kind of success? It's a great what if. They would have gone 16-4.
Right, they would not. Right, like I think they have a lot. Maybe they might have been. I would guess they would have been better, especially if they would have gotten if it would have been Beal for Butler. But if they trade Durant for Butler, I don't think that team is better.
That's a great point,
right? And that was the thing that we were talking about. Like, are they going to be forced to trade Durant for Butler? But the last part of his quote. I think whenever you have really good players, you can name it being culture. You can name it whatever you want to name it. I mean, you can name anything, whatever you want to name it, I suppose. But that's why I say, like, if he were in, I'd be curious to see what he would have said if he were in Phoenix, because they would have had really good players. And I don't think that they would have been any better than the play-in team that they are right now. And I don't think anybody would have looked at them any differently in terms of the way that we're looking at the Warriors, where we go a middling team that is now, probably on the fringe of being one of the top contenders. But they're a contender, and I don't think Jimmy Butler going to Phoenix turns that team into a contender. No. So I think that's the part where Jimmy Butler is wrong, right? I think he's probably like 70% right on this. But that's a big 30% to be wrong on. It's not enough just to have the good players and then the culture comes along with it. That's a little bit too much hey, the players do it all kind of thing. And it takes a little bit, it strips too much away from the organization.
He did mention that in terms of, I can't recall exactly what the framework of the question was, but he kind of, and how it played out. Like his accountability for what it played out was kind of, he said that the fans should look at what the front office did as well. Like he kind of turned it around a little bit and said, what, shouldn't we look at what the front office did? And then he kind of said it should have been 50-50, maybe 51-49 with 51 on me. So he took a slight little bit of accountability there. I don't know, man. Like this is just it has played out so strangely, and it doesn't feel right. Maybe that's really simplistic, and I know a lot of fans in our comment section have told us personally, it's like, you know what, I don't bear any grudge or ill will towards him, and fans are saying no, it doesn't really matter, but you kind of just want him to go out differently, you know, or to say nothing at all. Like LeBron said nothing. Like he left, and it was heartless or whatever. It was strange and unexpected, and he joined Cleveland, and
I
he
will
didn't really
sympathize
say
with him
much.
here, though. I mean, LeBron. Nobody's been as media savvy as LeBron.
Oh, you know what? How about that though? How about this? Like the comment about like this was he had to go to college. Miami was like college where he had to learn how to win.
Nice.
That was, well, you see, but I took that like badly. I think a lot of fans took that badly. Like, screw you. What do you mean college? Like, we weren't here for you to have an all-night kegger or anything. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I recorded with you. We didn't like the comment at the time. Like, I'm there. Like, maybe 11 years later, you can kind of rewrite history however you want to, but I was there. Like,
that's what we do now. Speaking of how the fans are going to react to this, Tuesday night's a big night. Should Heat fans cheer or boo Jimmy Butler when he walks out at Kaseya Center on Tuesday night? We'll tell you how you all responded in our latest poll after this.
Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out or online shopping, maybe some entertainment here and there, it's easy to lose track. Well, that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting tool. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, your investments, and your spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. It's instead of juggling multiple apps, you just use Monarch to check all of your finances. You can track your spending, and you can even make long-term goals. It's that easy. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA to get half off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Your favorite NBA team has a free daily newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Heat newsletter, one stop for ultimate Heat and league coverage with local analysis and amazing writing from Katie Heindel, Mike Shearer, and Locked On fantasy basketball tips from Josh Lloyd. Sign up for free now at lockedondaily.com. Jimmy Butler will be getting a tribute video on Tuesday night, and I think that's the right move because, David, you can't not do one if you're the Heat, right?
Yeah. If you're doing this for like minor role players, and they have in the past, like for the guy who was the straw that stirred the drink for the past 5.5 seasons, yeah, absolutely. 2 finals runs to the Eastern Conference Finals, imbuing Heat culture, whether it exists or is overplayed or not, it doesn't matter. He was there. He was the team star. He had some great on-court moments, iconic moments, like bent over the stanchion in the Orlando bubble in the middle of the NBA Finals, and one of the greatest finals performances in NBA history. And you can talk it down or downplay because it's the Mickey bubble and LeBron and LeMickey and everything, whatever you want to call it. That doesn't matter. Like, that was an arduous time in those players' lives and Americans' lives. And it was a very, very difficult experience. And for him to put up those kind of monster numbers that he did, like, that's what it's all about. That's why he was so beloved by the Heat fans. And that's why we expected him to be a part of his organization for as long as he was in the NBA. It just didn't work out that way. So yeah, absolutely.
You have to do it. I expect the stanchion to be a part of it. I expect the
of course,
maybe the
nose to nose with Grant Williams.
Nose to nose with Grant Williams. Even like the missed shot in Game 7. Like all of it. Just put all of it in there, man. Just
him yelling at Spo. Yelling at
Spo on the sideline. Yeah,
yelling at Udonis.
What is the petty stuff? Because if the there's still, come on, there's bad feelings between the organization and Jimmy Butler for Howell. If they could, I'm not predicting that they will. I would be very surprised if they put anything petty. But if they could put anything petty in there, what could they put in there? It would be like the fight with Eric Spoelstra, or maybe just a couple of like missed 3-pointers that just clank off the back of the rim.
One-legged, janky-looking game winners that clanked off.
Right,
the back
him
of
passing
the rim.
out of a wide open layup against the Pacers.
That is That is absolutely hashtag.
If they just
Team
did a
Petty
highlight
there.
package of the Pacers and Pelicans games.
They got to do the wave, right? The blowing the kiss and the waving at what's his
Right.
name from the Pacers?
TJ Warren.
TJ Warren. Yeah, that's got to be in there.
Could you
It's gotta be
put
in
Bam asking Jimmy why he took that 3-pointer?
Ooh,
Would you
that's
put like
also Team Petty.
a press conference of him just being like, can't find any joy?
We should do our own video. We should do our own
That's a
video
great
tribute.
idea.
A Team Petty video tribute, and just make it just like all those terrible moments. The fight, obviously.
If anybody out there wants to help us with that, that would be great. Let's get to the poll. We asked Heat fans, how should the fans at Kaseya Center greet Jimmy Butler Tuesday night in Miami?
I haven't seen the results. I'm very curious to see how fans think they should respond. I know how fans are going to respond, but I'm curious to hear what the response of the poll is.
You know how fans are going to respond in person, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the majority of the fans at the Kaseya Center, I know how they're going to react.
So I'm surprised by the results of the poll.
Okay.
I think I know how I would respond.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get to the poll, how do you think fans will respond at the arena when it's actually happening?
They're going to cheer 100%. Like I think the vast majority of them are going to cheer for somebody who was, balls to the wall, embodied the culture, fought really hard for this team, and the fact that he forced his way out. Like I don't think the majority of the fans at Heat games are also diehards. Like you have your season ticket holders who bleed basketball, etc. But you also have a lot of people who are there for the show. They're there for the luxury of it. They're there to wear nice clothing and show off for other people and have drinks and spend a buttload of money to go to these events and kind of show off. And it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, Jimmy Butler. He was a Heat player, wasn't he? He was really nice. He was good. He was a good player. And they'll clap and they'll cheer as well they should. Right. And I think that's how most people are responding. Yeah, you're going to get a couple boos here and there, but even those will be reluctant. Like, I mean, I don't even know LeBron was welcomed back.
Well, that's what I wanted to get to. How many players we do this all the time. It feels like every couple of months we have a former star at another team going to the first home game at the old place. Yeah. I can recall two occasions over the last 15 years where guys were actually booed maliciously. It was LeBron back to Cleveland, right?
And Kevin Durant in OK City.
Correct, with the cupcakes. That's it. Most of the time, it's just cheers.
That was good pettiness right there. I mean, for a fan base that prays before every game and stands up when their team makes a basket. That was really nice pettiness there.
Like you does sort of underscore the praying and the Bible verses before every game. It's like, we also
Jesus loves you until you're leaving here and you go to Golden State, you bastard.
It doesn't quite work that way. To your point, it's always cheers. It's always cheers. And now it's not gonna be a whole event where the Warriors went all out for Klay Thompson in his first game back, where they gave out the ship the captain's hats and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't know would you just give out like emo wigs if you were the Heat? That could work actually.
That would work.
That would be pretty apt, wouldn't it? It would kind of capture the feelings of everything. At the same time,
yes, we're all in our feelings here. We're all in our feelings.
We're in our emo era in Miami.
Nice. I like that.
The poll results. How should Heat fans greet Jimmy Butler in Miami? 67% said cheers for the 5 great years. 33% would boo for quitting on the team. And I got to be honest, David, I'm surprised. And I'm not surprised by the 67%. I'm surprised at the 33%. And I think that's that's the online percentage. But I also think that'll be about what it is. Maybe not 33% in the arena, but there will be a smattering of boos. But overall, it'll be a majority of a wide majority. I think cheers. But I do want to get into what I think people should do, because I think we know what they're going to do.
Right.
How should Heat fans welcome Jimmy Butler on Tuesday night? Plus, Jimmy Butler says that the money wasn't the problem in Miami. I'm still not sure I believe him. We'll talk about all that next here on Locked On Heat.
Today's episode is brought to you by Ariete Hospitality. Hey, Miami Heat fans, are you looking to elevate your game day experience? Well, check out two must-visit spots just steps away from Kaseya Center in downtown Miami. First up, there's the Brasserie Laurel, a culinary gem in the Miami World Center, recommended by the Michelin Guide. Laurel offers an upscale French brasserie experience, blending old world charm with modern flair. Whether you're enjoying delicious bites or sipping craft cocktails, it's the perfect spot before or after the game. And don't miss their happy hour specials every day from 5 to 7 p.m. Next, you can head over to El Vecino, a sophisticated cigar bar with a laid-back vibe. It's the ideal pre- or post-game hangout, or you can maybe even watch the game live there. Enjoy exceptional cocktails, bites, and a welcoming atmosphere for all, including non-smokers. They've got a happy hour daily from 4 to 7 p.m. And don't forget, you can always check out the Taurus, where we'll be having our watch party this Saturday on March 29th. All three of these incredible venues are part of the Ariete Hospitality Group, known for elevating Miami's dining scene. Don't miss out on these game-changing spots. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app.
You know, I wanted to mention something real quickly because I know you've been talking up the cheeseburgers. And the last time we had a watch party, a friend of mine ordered a couple of their bites. I can't recall what they were. I didn't have any, unfortunately. But man, like weeks later, they were still raving about how good they were. I know one of them was they got a croqueta or something along those lines, but they also got something that was like a Cuban sandwich rolled into like some kind of a pastry or something. Like I don't even know what it was.
Type deal, like a Cuban.
It might have been something like that. Yeah, it might have been something along those lines. And again, they were talking about it weeks later. I was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh man, still thinking about those." It's like
the food there is awesome, and the whiskey selection is great. When I left, at the end of the watch party, I wish I remember the bartender's name. I'm so sorry, but like she saw me and somebody that was there staring at the whiskey selection. Like, "You looking at our whiskey selection?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
What do you recommend? She goes, "This bourbon." I go, "That bourbon is great. That sounds great." And I had that. So
it's a great place.
It's a great place, and I can't wait. March 29th. I think Heat fans are right. I think the people on our poll are right. I think you cheer, and I don't want to. You have to cheer. And it doesn't mean that you can't be angry. If you're a Heat fan that's angry, I get it. If you believe he quit on the team, I get it. If you're upset about him saying, I can't find joy while he's making $50 million and you believe that to be tone deaf, I get it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You got to cheer. Because you don't want to look, number one, you don't want to look petty. This is a fan base that quite honestly can't afford it. People already think of us a kind of way. Just cheer. Be classy. Cheer. So that's the other thing. If you want to boo, go ahead and boo. But I think you should cheer. The other thing, though, is if you cheer and you cheer your pants off and you make it as loud as possible when Michael Biamonte says 22, Jimmy Butler, or number 10, I suppose, in this case, Jimmy Butler. Does he have to say the third? Because that would kind of be lame. He does the whole Jimmy Butler chant the way that he does it. And if you just cheer your pants off, it is so that's going to make it so much harder on Jimmy Butler. It is so easy to be angry if it's just a bunch of boos and to take it out on that fan base. It is really hard for a player. It's easy to be angry. It's hard to be emotional. It's hard to be nostalgic in that moment. And if you remind him of what he gave up when he demanded the trade, whether you agree with him or don't, he's on the other team now, guys. The Heat are out here to win this game. And if you don't think that Bam and Tyler are very motivated and Spo or everybody wants to win this game, you are sorely mistaken. But I would say, cheer your pants off. Let him know what he missed. This was the fan base that has never loved him. No fan base has ever loved Jimmy Butler more than this Heat fan base. And the Warriors fan base will never love Jimmy Butler the way that this Heat fan base loved him. It's just never going to happen.
No.
Even if he wins a championship there, it's different. That's Steph's team. This was the only team Jimmy Butler has ever been a part of where it was his team. It wasn't his team in Minnesota. It wasn't his team in Chicago. It wasn't his team in Philadelphia. The only team he's ever had where it was his team was the Heat. And you got to remind him of that. And that's what I would say. Petty, not petty. Hate him, don't hate him. Love him, whatever. Cheer your pants off because either way, it's going to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Getting emotional just thinking about it. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, he didn't have that connection anywhere else. Like, he was, if anything, you appreciated him in Chicago for kind of carrying water there a little bit as Derek was recovering from his knee injury and the tragedy of all that. But it was Rose. It was D Rose. That was his team. He was the MVP. He was gonna usher in the next era. He was gonna be the next, not Michael necessarily. Maybe not necessarily the next
Michael. They were treating him like that. We were there, man. Like,
no doubt.
We were in Chicago, but they were treating him like the next Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, it was his team for sure. And then there was Minnesota, and he was not drafted by that team, and that was a quick season.
Those are the number one picks.
Was it one season he was there? Like, I mean, one season
and a couple of weeks
and change. Yeah, a couple practice sessions, and that's about it. And then it was not even a full season in Philadelphia, and a great playoff run that was ended by Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors, and then it was Miami. This was his team. This was his team in his city, and the fans loved him, and he did great things here, regardless of what he says. And I know that they didn't win a championship and everything else like that, but it's really tough. So I imagine, again, you're absolutely spot on. Like, he's gonna try and block it off, but he struggled in other places. He struggled in Chicago. He struggled in Minnesota. He struggled in Philadelphia. So I know that the emotions, to make Jimmy the player that he is, he feeds off those emotions. And so you're absolutely right. This is like throwing on a fireproof blanket and smothering those flames by just bringing on those kind of positive emotions and sending him his ways, because it will cancel a lot of what he does. He'll be in his head a little bit.
And then you know what you do?
Does Bialmonte do the full, when they do the player introductions? When they do the player introductions, because normally, again, he kind of talks it down. He's like, "Oh, number 10, Jimmy Butler," and their head coach,
he does the full. He does the full. He'll do it.
He's gonna do the full Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, he'll do the full Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. I haven't talked to him.
Like,
you got to.
If he goes that in the pre,
you have to.
It's hard, because he's run out to that hundreds of times over the last 6 years with wearing a Heat jersey. And now it's the first time. Like, that's already going to throw off a whole monkey wrench. And I know Draymond's going to probably slap him across the face or do whatever Draymond has to do to get his head in the game. Like, he's going to pound his chest and get in. Yeah, it's Draymond things. But I mean, like I think it's going to get to Jimmy a little bit. It's going to be.
And then you know what you do if you're a Heat fan?
Yeah,
you cheer your pants off. Cheer your pants off. The Jimmy Butler, the whole thing. Cheer your pants off. Pregame. His first free throw attempt, boo the crap out of him.
No, what about every time he touches the ball? Like, we see that.
Just boo him. Like, that's what you do, because now the game's being played.
Jimmy?
Now the game's being played. You want to talk about Heat culture? It's about winning and it's about losing. And now we need you to miss these shots, buddy. So that's what you do. Quick true or false before we leave here, David. Just based on a couple of other quotes that Jimmy Butler has given during these last couple hours and days. He was asked about if things would have been different had the Heat offered the max 2-year, $113 million extension last offseason after Pat Riley made the comments that he made in his press conference. So when he was asked, hey, if they had just offered the extension, would that have changed things? And Jimmy Butler said no. He was asked then, did you know in the summer that you planned on leaving the Heat? And he said, I mean, pretty much, yes. I knew what direction, how it was going. Nobody ever asked me, though. End quote. True or false? If the Heat had offered the max extension, is Jimmy Butler right? It still would have been no?
No, I think he would have been a Heat player regardless. And I don't believe that the direction of the team was a problem. Like, I don't think I don't know what conversation he expected to have or what he was supposed to be approached about, because unfortunately they didn't make any changes. But like, what was the difference here? Like, what would they have talked to him about? Hey, we want to go after X player and fall short.
No,
like,
I think the direction he's talking about is that
transitioning the offense to Tyler.
No, I think the direction was that he wasn't getting the extension. I think that's I knew the direction it was going in terms of, I'm not getting that extension this year at any point.
Oh, well,
is how I took it. I mean, I could be wrong there, but
then it they cancel each other out, right? I mean, like, had he gotten the extension, would he have wanted to stay here in Miami? Absolutely. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, what's he going to say?
What would he have said? Would he have taken the extension had it been offered? He said no, and I say false. I think he would have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next one. Jimmy Butler told The Athletic that he was always going to get his money, so that money wasn't a factor.
Right.
True or false?
False.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. I mean, if he had
Doesn't
gotten it
make
from
sense.
Miami, he'd be wearing a Heat
Exactly.
jersey. Like that's the whole thing.
I agree. Last one here, true or false? I'm always painted as the bad guy. Everywhere I've been, I've always been the problem. So we'll take it. I don't got nothing to say. I'm not mad at being the bad guy. It's all the way that everything is portrayed. End quote. True or false? Is Jimmy Butler always painted as the bad guy?
Yes, absolutely. He is always. He forced his way out of Chicago. He forced his way out of Minnesota. Left a trail of blood at all locations. And then in Philadelphia, like we heard that things were pretty bad between him and Brett Brown after the fact. Like I don't think it was that clear when they were making this run and when he was leading the team as a point guard in the playoffs, et cetera, that it was as bad as it was behind the scenes. But yeah, I think after the fact we've kind of figured it out. So I don't know. I'm curious. Like he said, oh, someday the truth will come out. Like Jimmy's not going to care. Like he's never going to bring this up again. He's never revisited Minnesota. He's never revisited Chicago. He's never revisited Philadelphia. Like with the exception of Tobias Harris over me. Like if he was on an Eastern Conference team, or if somehow Jimmy Butler and the Warriors met Miami in the finals, then I could imagine Tyler Hero over me being something that goes said, or Bam Adebayo over me. Aside from that, no, I don't think he'll ever revisit how it played out here. Aside from those times that he comes to Miami.
It's true. He is always painted as the bad guy. I do think that there was a media bias is strong, but he's not given the benefit of the doubt.
He's a locker room cancer
because of, that's what he's been called, right? And so,
absolutely.
I don't think he's given the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, you also look at his track record and you're like, well, you did force your way out of all these places. So why should you get the benefit of the doubt at the same time? Now, I think some of this is being painted the bad. I think the stuff about, hey, he wanted his own flight and all that, I think that stuff was way overblown afterwards. That stuff to me, and I've said this, is not rare for star players. Steph Curry gets very similar treatment. It's just whether or not, you, as an organization, you want to keep doing that and whatever. And so, yeah, I do think that the Heat organization deserves some blame in how all this went down, obviously. But I also believe him when he says that he doesn't care about being the bad guy. I think he's very comfortable in that role, and it doesn't very much matter to him. Tuesday night's a big one. Of course, we will be reacting to it here on Locked On Heat. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app.